rash of hidden camera cases in the Chicago area and what we hope to do about it, both from a civil side and from a legislative side. So I want to acknowledge a few people, and then we'll get underway with remarks. I'd like to acknowledge the attorneys working on this case, including our founding partner, Antonio Romanucci. I'd like to acknowledge managing partner, Gina DeBoni, senior partner, Mike Holden, who is not able to be here today, partner, Daisy Ione, Sarah Raish, and Maura White. I'd also like to acknowledge the contributions of our senior paralegals who are critical to this case, Dana Condos, Lucy Gonzalez, and Yaz Morales Castro. And then lastly, you will hear today from Illinois State Representative Curtis Tarver, who is a Democrat from the 25th District. And before we get underway with remarks, I'd also like to acknowledge our co-counsel, Rena Infelice of Rhodian Infelice, who is unable to be here today, but valued all the same. Tony.
Thank you. And good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It seems like we've told this story before about hidden cameras being in places where they shouldn't be. And when you look at why we're telling this story today, it's because we're likening this to a plague. It's a plague that is afflicting our communities. It's a plague that can't be fixed or solved with a vaccine. There is no medication that can take care of this plague. And so we have to figure out a solution. We are here to problem solve. Why are there so many hidden cameras in places where people have their expectation of privacy, where they are in a location where they are compromised, where they don't know that they're being compromised, where they are in a state of undress, or maybe even fully or half naked, and people, predators, continue to use these hidden cameras to their advantage. And so that's why we're here today. We're here to solve this festering problem. This is a violation of trust. It is disgusting and it's damaging. You hear many people say, well, they don't know that they're being recorded. What's the harm? There is a lot of harm in having your privacy invaded and not knowing it until afterwards. It comes with a lot of embarrassment. It comes with self-doubts about why you let it happen. So there is something that needs to be done, and we are aiming to stop it. Either we stop it with criminal justice, but we're offering a better solution to the problem, civil justice, by strengthening our laws and ensuring that no one can ever video record a susceptible person or a child in a compromised or undressed situation without knowing that they are being recorded. And this behavior, particularly in a healthcare setting, is toxic and deeply harmful to any individual. And when you see it happening over and over again in different places to a growing number of people, we know that things need to change. And that's why we're here today. So our firm, Romanucci and Blandon, has filed a civil lawsuit against the Batavia Chiropractor's office and its owner for secretly videotaping patients during treatment. But the sad thing is that this is only one of the types of cases that we have regarding invasion of privacy. This will be 4 that we have right now. This is what's deeply disturbing. And it's even worse that it's impacting children as well as adults. So the cure for this plague will take several steps. We took our first by filing the civil lawsuit, and there is already the criminal justice angle is in place with charges being brought against the chiropractors and the owner for what they did. And then, of course, we need legislative action to create systemic accountability and change. And that's why Representative Curtis Tarver is here today. That's where he comes in. You'll hear from him in a minute and what he plans to do about this in terms of new legislation to protect children and adults from hidden cameras. Something, unbelievably, that our state does not have. You would think that there were invasion of privacy laws for civil cases does not exist. We're going to change that. And we thank him for his leadership and his immediate willingness to take on this important cause for our communities. And thank you, Representative Tarver. Now, legislation will be the vaccine for this problem. We are here to solve problems for our clients and constituents in a multidimensional, transformational approach. That will be full justice. Let me give you a little bit more background before I turn it over on what happened first. Children, parents, and grandparents in suburban Chicago have all been exploited by being secretly video recorded during medical treatments. They were vulnerable and they should have been in a safe place. Our new civil lawsuit details how the male owner of a Chicago suburban chiropractor's office abused the trust of his medical clients by secretly recording them in treatment rooms. So this lawsuit is on behalf of 4 patients, 3 generations from one family, all of whom believe they were violated by secret recordings in this medical office. Additional lawsuits on behalf of more plaintiffs in this matter will be coming forth soon. So this case is disturbingly similar to recent allegations of secret video recordings of young female employees in a bathroom of a suburban ice cream shop in Addison. We filed a civil complaint against the Flavor Frenzy ice cream shop and its owner on behalf of 11 young female plaintiffs earlier this fall. The store owner is also criminally charged in that case. Had the legislation that we're proposing been on the books, that wouldn't have happened. There would have been a clear warning sign that they were being recorded. And our law firm is also investigating 2 other recent reports of hidden cameras in 2 Chicago area businesses where people may have been secretly recorded in states of undress. We'll have more information on those cases coming up, but certainly it is our hope that not only are we bringing one anchor, one part of justice to this case by the civil lawsuit, but by closing all the gaps. And now I'd like to introduce Sarah Raish to the stand, and she'll talk to you more about the case. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. In our latest civil case involving secret videotaping when people have an expectation of privacy, the place at stake is the medical office is Hanson Family Chiropractic in Batavia, Illinois. The Kane County State's Attorney's Office has charged the office owner, David Hanson, with multiple felony counts, including producing and disseminating child pornography, possession of child pornography, and unauthorized video recording of a minor. The indictment states that there were hidden cameras in a room used for red light or near infrared light therapy. He was also charged with possession and dissemination of sexual images of children, which are unrelated to the office recordings. Our legal team believes that dozens of innocent people have been harmed by inappropriate and negligent conduct at this medical office. Our clients are distressed, disgusted, and deeply disturbed that a predator may have violated them without their knowledge and without their consent. When a person seeks medical treatment, there is an assumption of trust, that the healthcare provider is there to help heal them and to improve their quality of life. Nothing seems farther from the truth at Hanson Family Chiropractic. We will do everything we can to get accountability and justice for our clients. I'd now like to turn it over to partner Daisy Ione to tell you more about the cases.
Thanks, Sarah. Good afternoon. As Sarah stated, we are closely monitoring what's happening with the criminal case. Our clients are ready to help in any way that they can, and we are cooperating with the Kane County State's Attorney's Office for their work on this case. Together, we represent 4 individuals who were treated at the Hanson Family Chiropractor, and they have serious concerns about their trust being violated. Our complaint has multiple counts. It was filed yesterday in the Circuit Court of Kane County, and the 4 plaintiffs are all members of the same family. 2 of them include minors. Our clients are suing both the individual owner of the clinic as well as the practice itself, and we have different counts including invasion of privacy, negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and various other theories, including the violation of the Illinois Consumer Fraud and Deceptive Practices Act. What you'll hear and what you'll read in the complaint is that there was a huge violation of privacy and of trust, and our clients have suffered immensely. As Tony Romanucci mentioned before, not only are there serious concerns for trust, but what happens in these types of cases is that clients don't know what happens to their images. They don't know who has access to these images, how many people have viewed them, and that is a deep, deep concern, especially because these images now exist on the internet and other places, and so there's reputational harm that they have suffered. I have a short statement from one of our clients, Jane Doe 1. She said, "Our family is in complete disbelief that someone we turn to for help and healing has violated us in this way. And for so many members of our own family to be exploited, it raises serious concerns about how many other people have suffered the same harm. The actions of this chiropractor seriously diminish our trust in healthcare providers." Thank you for your time, and now I'm going to pass it over to partner Gina DeBoni for some additional information.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Abusers pick their victims carefully, and this medical professional counted on his position of power to prevent him from ever being held accountable for his misconduct. Children are taught in an early age to trust their medical providers. There's no greater trust of that between a doctor and his patients. These children trusted him. He exploited them. The conduct Hansen is accused of is vile and abhorrent. We do not believe that any of our clients were aware of the secret recording. Here, children undressed in what should have been a safe and protected space. All the while, they were being secretly recorded. Patients should feel safe in their medical provider's office. They deserve and have an expectation of privacy. Instead, their trust was betrayed in the most horrendous way. This deeply troubling predatory behavior in healthcare is also not a new behavior to our team, which has represented dozens and dozens of people who were exploited or abused by their healthcare providers. These types of cases where there is a predator in the community are particularly important to our firm. Romanucci and Blandon has a history of representing clients in these types of cases, seeking accountability in the pursuit of justice. Our team has worked on countless of abuse cases, including those by clergy, scout leaders, high school sports coaches, medical providers, and others. We have a commitment to combating human trafficking and have worked with our client Yvonne Ambrose, whose 16-year-old daughter Desiree Robinson was trafficked and murdered in the Chicago area in 2016. Yvonne testified in Washington, D.C., and was present when that federal law was signed, which held the .coms accountable for knowingly engaging in the facilitation of sex trafficking of minors. And in the last year and a half, we have represented multiple families in suburban Arlington Heights whose elementary school children had their prescription medications swapped and substituted by the school nurse, putting these children at significant risk and doing harm to them in their emotional and educational development. We're pleased to have recently seen a criminal conviction in that case. You know, I want to talk for a minute about the impact of behavior this has in our case. Our law firm is trauma-informed, trained, and very aware of the present and future implications of this type of exploitation and abuse. No two people are the same or have the same types of reaction to the violations of this kind. Many people's reactions even change over time. They're experiencing freezing, disbelief, shame, anger, and confusion. We have filed on behalf of each of them as Doe pseudonyms to protect their identities. Our clients are both children and adults. As you know, this took place in a suburban environment where words of these things spread quickly, and we ask that everyone please respect the privacy of these individuals. The last thing I'll say is this: abuse can happen anywhere, at any time, in any town, to any person. People need to pay attention all of the time. They need to be aware of their surroundings, things that don't seem quite right, and speak up if they have concerns. Senior Attorney Maura White will now briefly walk you through the details of our complaint from a few weeks ago in the other hidden camera case. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gina. Allow me to share an overview of a similar case we filed last month to give you a sense of what Tony mentioned earlier, the plague of this type of behavior in our community. The civil complaint was filed on October 22nd of this year in DuPage County on behalf of 11 female plaintiffs. The defendants in that case include Flavor Frenzy LLC, the shop's owner and operator, Stephen Weisberg, who is also criminally charged. The defendants in this case are an ice cream shop, Flavor Frenzy, which is located at 48 West Lake Street in Addison, Illinois, and Stephen Weisberg, the owner and operator of Flavor Frenzy. We claim in our lawsuit that he used the business as a vehicle to recruit, exploit, and endanger minor female employees. He instructed all female employees that their work uniform consisted of a t-shirt and tight black pants, and they were required to model Flavor Frenzy t-shirts or other apparel for purported website photographs. But unbeknownst to these plaintiffs, Weisberg installed a hidden camera disguised as an electrical outlet in the store's restroom. Weisberg required minor employees to repeatedly change clothing in that restroom, purportedly for business marketing purposes, often supplying bras and Flavor Frenzy branded garments to record them in various states of undress. We will fight relentlessly to hold both this individual and his business accountable and to deliver justice for all of our clients, the kind of justice that they deserve. I'd like to take a moment now to introduce Illinois State Representative Curtis Tarver of the 21st District here in Illinois. He's a small business owner and he is a friend of civil justice. He will detail legislation to provide accountability and oversight of businesses' use of cameras in semi-private or private areas, particularly where children are involved. Representative Tarver.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As she said, I'm State Representative Curtis Tarver. I'm disgusted about the allegations of what happened. I'm appalled as a lawyer, a legislator, but most importantly, as a father of a 12-year-old daughter. A bathroom, a treatment room, those are places where privacy should be unquestioned. When someone hides a camera in those spaces, they don't just violate privacy, they violate basic human trust. To the survivors who've come forward through their attorneys, thank you for your courage. Your telling your story is not just simply telling your story. You're protecting the next child, the next employee, the next family. I'm proud to stand here with Romanucci and Bland's law firm because they've long been champions for those who refuse to be silenced, like these individuals who've come forward. They are doing their part. For my part, next week I intend to file the Protecting Children from Hidden Cameras Act, a civil statute built to hold people and businesses accountable. First, it will prohibit hidden cameras in bathrooms, locker rooms, medical treatment rooms, and places generally where individuals would expect to have privacy. Second, it will target covert spy devices that are designed to record without notice. Third, it will require clear on-site disclosures anywhere a business records customers or its employees. Fourth, it will add hidden camera screening to safety inspections. And last but not least, it will state clearly that recording a child is traumatic. That means the law will recognize the harm automatically. It will be presumed that there's trauma because the violation is just that severe. I carried legislation last year codifying that the sexual assault of a child is per se traumatic, after the Chicago public school system paid an expert who testified that not all sexual assault of a child is traumatic. We passed that legislation for the same reason we will pass this legislation. Sometimes we have to write into law what should be common sense in a civilized society. When I return to Springfield in January, I intend to move is protecting Children from Hidden Cameras Act immediately. And I expect my colleagues to do their part on both sides of the aisle, because protecting children should never be controversial or political issue. Thank you all.
Thank you, Representative. We'll now open up for questions.
Actually two. One for the representative. How, by enacting this law and passing it and getting it on the books, how does that help future victims and survivors get justice that they might not get without this law on the books?
Sure. I mean, I think the first thing is obviously the disclosure, the safety inspections, those types of things that would at least tend to alert someone, right? Now, if somebody's going to secretly court regardless, then we're back in the same situation. But I do think particularly with children, with it being per se traumatic, that is a significant protection against those businesses and individuals who seek to harm children.
And how often would the safety inspections occur?
So it likely depends on municipalities. Some have home rules, some don't. But obviously when a business is opening or annually, just like people come out and inspect elevators or inspect other safety, the fire marshals come out, so the different municipalities I think will be able to cover that. But we want to make sure that it's on the books that they have to do it. Sure.
Are there any laws regarding the presence of a parent with a child with a doctor? If a child's very young, I would imagine they'd have their parent with them all along, the whole time. But is there an age cutoff or anything where they'd want a child, where a child would have to have a parent with them?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So I mean, if these children are being videotaped, how old were they? Would there be some type of law where you'd say, under a certain age, they'd have to have a parent present with them?
So the language that's being drafted does not contemplate requiring a parent to be present. Because like in a situation like we're talking about these young ladies, it sounds like they were changing in a restaurant.
I'm thinking for a doctor's office.
Sure.
I mean, a little kid always has their parent with them, presumably.
Typically, sure.
Okay.
So I can't tell you every law in the book. What I can tell you is this for sure will seek to have a heightened protection for children, whether the parents are around or not.
Question for the attorneys. When we initially covered this case, the state's attorney was asking anyone who thought they were a victim to come forward so they could go through the process of identifying whether they were in fact on the recordings. Have your clients taken that step yet, or do you plan to?
So we certainly plan to, and the clients that we're representing today that have filed, we have many others behind them. So there are many others, but this is just the first wave of lawsuits that's coming against Hansen.
There were members of the same family? That's several generations?
That is correct.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, what we're talking about is, parent, child, and I don't know who the other generation was. Who knows? A grandparent. So it was familial.
And did one of them have an idea or something, or how did it come about that they knew?
Yeah, they were not aware. They were not aware. We discovered it through other means, or they discovered it through other means.
And how was it discovered? Who was the first? How did this?
I don't have that information right now. No. Anyone else? All good? All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Good seeing you. Thank you. Thank you, Christian. Good seeing you again, always.